Hello, my beautiful Taurus friends, and welcome to our October 2021 reading. I am really excited to sit down and go through this beautiful spiritual month with you all because it is a potent one. I mean, this Libra season is special. It has this dynamic of really looking inside for our peace, our harmony, our love, our self-acceptance, our understanding, and then also in hearing that soul song and hearing truly devoting ourselves to hearing that, in being able to move through the world in meaningful, loving ways that change everything. You know, just small topics like that are coming up. So for you all, this does have to do with your devotion and your practice. We have the sun moving through Libra, a new moon in Libra on the 6th. We also have a Mercury retrograde happening in Libra, which I will be getting really deep into on my Patreon if you're looking for support there. And Mars moving through Libra. So we have tons of energy moving through this beautiful Venus-ruled sign, fellow Venus-ruled sign. And this is a space for you all that has to do with how you're showing up and how you're devoting your energy. Now, with this kind of reflexive, introspective energy coming up with this Mercury retrograde and with the energies that be, this is also a time to notice where we need to shift, where we're censoring ourselves or trapping ourselves into a box. And I actually have a poem by Mark Nepo in his book, The Endless Practice, which I have just been loving this book. It's one of my little reference books. He wrote this poem to himself, and it's in the chapter called Exhausting the Struggle. And this is about his creative process. And for some reason, it made me think of you all. So I'm going to read it. For a Long Time, it is called. I had this idea and imagining it. Let me start over. I had this idea and imagining it and building it brought me alive. I was never as engaged as when I was half built. I'd read the blueprint in my heart and carve another piece. Once finished, I would live in it. It was where I'd go to look out on the world. For years, it was a peaceful place in which I grew. I thought it was my nest, but slowly I grew so big that I couldn't get out of my idea. It became a cage. I panicked and railed at what I'd made, afraid to give up any of my growth. Trapped and exhausted, I sat in the middle of all I'd built and began to listen to the rhythm of things that never die. In time, I grew smaller and smaller till I was thin as the breath of life. Only then could I slip through the bars of my idea. Like a quiet breeze, I returned to the world. Oh, gosh, that poem is just so beautiful. Such a great reminder. I think, as a fellow fixed sign, I get this. Sometimes we create containers for ourselves, right? And they are beautiful. We craft them, we show up to them, we make our world with them. And that is part of the fun of life, right? To have an idea, have a concept, have a project, and to go and to make it, and to build it, and to create it. What could be better? But it is also true that sometimes we imprison ourselves in those routines, in those ideas of this is who I am now. This is who I need to love now. This is what I need to create now, right? Whatever it is for each of us. We each have our own thing. I mean, to be honest, even the way that I've been doing readings for all these years, I can feel a shift inside of myself. It doesn't mean I'm going away, don't worry, but I know that the way I do this project is going to be changing. The way I connect with you all is going to be changing. It is terrifying, but it also feels like I need to let myself breathe. So that is, for an example for me, where I'm having to look at where I'm letting myself flow. And this month is going to be all about doing that. Also, Libra season itself is powerful. We have Pluto going direct. We have Jupiter and Saturn going direct in Aquarius, and energy is going to start moving into your opposing sign of Scorpio. And this is a time of review. It's a time to really look and notice what ideas have become these big cages, and where am I letting myself free, and where am I holding myself back? Where am I censoring myself to make everybody happy? All of those questions. And these questions keep coming up with Taurus. Oh, High Priestess wanted to come out. I love it. They've been coming up with Taurus, and I think it's partially to do with this Uranus action going on in your sign, right? Because Uranus is like, I don't want to do things the same old way. Like, why don't we just throw some paint on a wall? He's kind of like, there's a game called How Is This Like That? Where you take an item that and another disparate part of your life and you say, how is this pencil like me walking the dog? And I know that sounds absurd, right? But the thing is that's Uranus wants us to think outside the traditional ways of this is what this is for, this is what this is for, and that's just how it is. And so every time we have these talks, it's me being like, where are you forcing yourself to repeat when you're ready to move forward? Eight of Swords, gotta love that. Gotta love that Eight of Swords. We'll talk about it. I'm going to actually pull, so I pulled 2 cards, very spiritual, very hidden world cards for you. And then speaking of hidden world, we're going to be using my Oracle of the Hidden Worlds to pull a final card for this day's reading. And this is just a really beautiful deck. It gives kind of a different play on everything that we're learning. Insight. Oh, I love this one. The key words for this insight card with the Seeker is magical tools, writing, star crafting. So this is a really beautiful card. We will get into it. Let's talk through our first cards here. So these cards work really well together. They're quite powerful. And this is a message that's been coming up a lot in October, actually. And you guys are the last people I'm talking to for this month, so I've got a bit of an idea what's going on. And this month is just like, I'm not interested in what things look like on the exterior. I'm interested about what's going on in here, and if we are relaxed inside. And that's what High Priestess, Eight of Swords together is doing. It's doing just that. You know, High Priestess is the initiation into the spiritual. It's the reclamation of us back to our soul selves. And she is about being comfortable in the stillness of being within ourselves and the aliveness that comes from allowing ourselves to be in that void. And what's that phrase? Smile and the void smiles back. That's High Priestess energy right there. She's not interested in how the story looks from the outside or what people are going to think about it or whether you're like successful or you have everything. She's interested in, are you allowing yourself to be with yourself, right? And are you allowing that magic to bubble through you from inside out into the world? Now, Eight of Swords has a different play on this, and I weirdly love this card. Maybe it's not weird. I've worked with tarot for many, many, many years, so I feel like I have this sense of the way that this card shows up. And Eight of Swords is, on the surface, it looks like this woman who's trapped in this terrible situation. But this card really, for me, represents the discomfort of realizing you're about to leave what is familiar, which is these swords, which is being trapped, which is being stuck, which is replaying over and over and over again old dynamics, right? We love the familiar. We like this idea of karmic ties that have us revolving around the same familiar orbit for lifetimes. I'm not a big fan of that, but some people really love it. Regardless, I'm not here to judge or anything. It's just, we all have our different ways. But Eight of Swords is like that part of ourselves that loves the revolution of the familiar, right? Revolution as in revolving. Revolving around and around. We love that. And that part of ourselves that loves it is really uncomfortable with the idea that there's something new coming that they can't see, they can't understand. And what I would say, take a breath here and notice that desire to clench up or pull away is because a deep truth wants to come through, a deep new thing wants to come through. I almost always find Eight of Swords shows up right before a big shift. something big and beautiful coming into your life. And the part of you that is afraid of change, the part of you that is afraid of newness, which we each have that part in us, every single one of us, including myself. I love a good familiar pattern, believe me, is nervous. Our spirit, though, is ready, right? And these two can have a dialogue. They don't have to be stuck in separate rooms. They can speak to each other. They can commune. They can have different viewpoints and have a conversation. And I highly recommend doing that, in fact, because this part of yourself, the High Priestess part of yourself, will definitely soothe the Eight of Swords part of yourself and help her to come forward with you. Now let's talk about your Oracle card, the Insight card. You gotta love, it's very much the Hermit, the Wizard, the Eccentric, the Magician, all of those energies showing up here. And you know, this is a scribe, this is a stargazer, this is somebody who is listening deep and taking notes, right? And the title of it is Insight. So this month, be ready and open for insight. Like we said with that poem about letting an idea become a cage, right? Letting a concept or a routine or a structure or an idea or a story of ourselves become a cage. Where in your life, and it can be anywhere, right? Do you have a story that is needing insight, that is needing the gazing of these figures here? Doesn't it make you just feel so cozy to know that these beings, these energies live in us and are with us and are always available to give us their wisdom and their love? Doesn't that feel so good to be reminded that they are here and that they're always ready to guide this part of ourselves any second, every second of the day? You know, she's not really stuck. So, where is it that you want to dissolve and become free so that you can build something new? It could be anywhere, any aspect of life. It can be even something that is perceived as small, right? Like we as humans can really hedge ourselves in very strange ways, I find. Like, we can have an idea that we have to have a certain breakfast at a certain time that looks a certain way. That's just who we are, and that's all that'll work, right? It's like, and we won't even question it for a long time. That's just how it is. That's what I have to work with. I'm just going to do that. That's a place that could bring insight. I think often it's going to be something a little more of substance that has to do with the work we do in the world, the partnerships we have, the way we want to connect with ourselves, the way we approach our lives, right? But it can also show up in very practical, mundane things as well. And those are normally little symptoms of something going on deeper, right? So there is a truth seeking going on here in October, and that is true across the board for every single sign. And for you, this is going to be, where do you want to dissolve an old container, right? Give yourself the opportunity to have that insight and dive back in, because there's some new big energy coming your way. We're going to get into even more of the Scorpio energy in our next reading, when we have a lot more energy moving through Scorpio, and we've got your full moon coming up next month. There's going to be a lot going on. So use this month as prep. Use this month to get yourself in that alignment so you can handle everything and anything that comes your way, and that you're taking care of yourself. And that's just so important this October. It's really the core message. So with that being said, my friends, I am going to be offering a lot of extra support on my Patreon. So if you're looking for guidance when it comes to Mercury retrograde, planets going direct, and everything to do with just this very powerful last few months of the year, I'd love to see you there. We do work every week together. You can also find me on my Instagram, on my website. And I would love to hear how this month is feeling for you as you head into it, as you're going through it, whatever. I'd love to hear from you. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, hang out with me. I really appreciate it. Truly, truly, truly. I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you very soon in our next reading, and have a beautiful month ahead, my beautiful Taurus friends.